Our breakup was ugly. The year he loved me most, I took $500,000 from his mother, aborted our child, and betrayed him. He knelt outside the operating room, crying and begging me not to be so cruel. He said he would hate me for the rest of his life. 6 years later, when we met again, he had found a beautiful girlfriend from a similar background and was about to get married. I came to him in a desperate state, wanting to borrow some money. He forced me to attend his wedding, wanting me to witness him marrying another woman. He asked me if I regretted it. What he didn't know was that I had raised our child alone. That child was sick and dying. 6 years after our breakup, I encountered Ryan again at the lowest point of my life. It was at a class reunion, and no one expected Ryan to show up. Someone joked, "Mr. CEO never keeps in touch with us. Did you suddenly decide to come to the reunion this year because you heard Lily was coming? Are you still thinking about her?" I was sitting in the corner when my back suddenly stiffened. I looked up to see Ryan with a cigarette in his mouth, coldly staring at me. Everyone knew how much Ryan used to love me. He was the son of a wealthy family, but he fell in love with me at first sight. That year, he cut ties with his family for me, giving up power and money, desperately wanting to be with me. We lived in a tiny rented apartment, sharing the same bowl of instant noodles and porridge. Life was hard, but we were happy. Every passionate night, we held hands tightly, vowing to be together forever. Until later, when I got pregnant, his mother offered me $500,000 to abort our child and leave him. That day, Ryan knelt outside the operating room, banging furiously on the door. Over and over again, he cried and begged me, "Baby, baby, I'll work hard, earn money, support our family. I'll definitely earn many, many times $500,000, all for you to spend, okay? I'm begging you, don't leave me, and don't give up on our child." I lay on the operating table, biting my lip hard to keep from crying out. Separated by a small door, I heard Ryan say he would hate me for the rest of his life. No one knew how ugly things got when Ryan and I broke up. Someone pushed me towards Ryan, laughing and asking him, "Mr. CEO used to love Lily so much, he'd give up his life for her. How could you bear to let her go?" Everyone was clamoring for us to get back together. Ryan's friend glanced at me, smirking, and suddenly spoke up. "What kind of woman can't Mr. CEO get? Who does Lily think she is? Why should my bro be hung up on her?" He said there was a woman who had been with Ryan for 3 years. That woman was gentler than me, prettier than me, more suitable to be Ryan's girlfriend. Ryan had been dating her for 3 years. His friends all called that girl sister-in-law, and it was said they were about to get married. All the laughter and noise stopped, except for Ryan's friend, who was still smiling, inviting everyone to attend Ryan's wedding. He tossed the invitation over, throwing it in my face and landing in my lap. I lowered my head and saw Ryan's name on the invitation, with another girl's name next to his. That girl was called Emma. Just from her name, you could tell she was a nice girl. I thought, she must be more sensible than me, more obedient than me, better at caring for people, and wouldn't always make Ryan sad. 6 years without seeing each other, and upon this reunion, knowing that Ryan was doing well was good enough. I held back the tears that were about to fall, looked up, and said to Ryan, "Congratulations." Ryan stared at me intently. Hearing my congratulations, he suddenly smiled, viciously stubbing out his cigarette, and coldly said to me, "Lily, don't come to the wedding. My wife will be unhappy if she sees you, and if she's unhappy, I'll be upset." I clutched the thin, red invitation card, stunned for a moment. Smiling and nodding, I softly said, "Okay." That day, everyone said Ryan seemed to have truly stopped loving me. No one had imagined that we once loved each other so deeply. In the end, he was getting married, but the bride wasn't me. Everyone thought Ryan would always wait for me. Everyone was curious about who this Emma was, who could make Ryan so infatuated and loving. I knew Ryan didn't want to see me again, so I left the class reunion early. On my way home, a friend sent me a photo of Emma. Emma looked very innocent in the photo. I heard she loved to smile and act coy, which was the type of girl Ryan liked. My friend asked me, "Lily, don't you think Emma's smile looks a lot like yours? Do you think Ryan still loves you? Is this really how it ends between you two?" I let out a soft sigh, remained silent for a long time, then smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. I don't care anymore." I didn't want to get entangled with Ryan anymore. I thought he would never know that I had secretly given birth to our child, hiding it from everyone. That child was sick and was about to die. This year was my poorest, most difficult year. I worked desperately to earn money, wanting to buy the best medicine for that child, to make him less painful when he was sick. For money, I could shamelessly go to class reunions to borrow from people, and I could work as a hostess in nightclubs, drinking until my stomach bled. I thought this would probably be the last time I'd see Ryan in this lifetime. Until a few days later, when that girl called Emma found me. Emma had probably heard from others that she looked a lot like me and wanted to meet me. She came to the nightclub with some friends, asking for me by name. One girl asked me, "Are you Lily, the one who was Ryan's first love?" Her eyes were full of contempt as she looked at my heavy makeup, as if saying I was dirty. I clenched my fists, holding back my temper to avoid trouble, and only asked if they wanted to drink. If they didn't want to drink, they shouldn't waste my time earning money. That girl probably felt I wasn't giving her face and yelled at me, "What kind of attitude is this? I'm talking to you. Can't you hear? You're so ungrateful." She pointed at a bottle of hard liquor and said to me, "All right, Lily, you like money, right? Drink this whole bottle in one go, and I'll give you $30,000. Drinking that whole bottle would probably land me in the hospital." Emma pretended to be a bit anxious and tried to persuade the girl. "Didn't we agree we were just coming to take a look, not to give Lily a hard time? Although people say she's good at seducing men and told me to be careful of her, even Ryan said I'm too naive and worried she might bully me. But I'm fine." I listened quietly to Emma's words and understood that she was telling me how much Ryan liked her and how much he disliked me. I smiled without saying anything, only asking her friend, "So, you said if I drink this whole bottle, you'll give me $30,000, right?" Then I grabbed the bottle from the table and started checking it. Everyone was stunned, not expecting that I would risk my life for money. Emma grabbed my hand, gently trying to persuade me, "Lily, how can you abuse yourself like this for money? As women, we should know what shame is." I didn't want to say this, afraid you'd be upset, "But do you know that Ryan hates women like you the most?" I finished the bottle, fighting the intense pain in my stomach, and interrupted her, asking, "Where's the money? What Ryan likes or hates has nothing to do with me. I just want the $30,000 you promised me." Emma frowned, looking at me with disappointment, and said in a a soft voice, Lily, to be honest, that $30,000 is just pocket change for me. I could give it to anyone, but I just can't give it to you. You can blame me, but I'm doing this for your own good. I can't watch you continue to degrade yourself. Her friend pushed me and laughed. I was just messing with you earlier. I'm not giving you any money. What can you do about it? I coldly laughed along with her, then raised my hand and smashed the empty bottle hard. The shattered glass splashed onto Emma's leg, cutting a wound that started to bleed. Emma's tears instantly fell, and the women who had been noisy just moments ago all fell silent. The next second, the door of the private room opened and Ryan stood in the doorway, looking at me coldly. I froze on the spot, not daring to look into his eyes. My heavy makeup, entertaining men for money, drinking with them to make them happy, Ryan had seen it all. Actually, I didn't care if others looked down on me. I just didn't want Ryan to know how miserable my life had become. But in the end, even this small wish couldn't be fulfilled. I could only use all my strength to pretend not to care, forcing myself to look up and watch Ryan wrap his arms around Emma, gently wiping away her tears. Then he asked me word by word, Lily, who are you bullying in front of me? You want money? Fine, apologize first. I watched Ryan protect Emma, remembering how he used to protect me like this long ago. I knew Ryan wanted me to make Emma happy. It's okay. For money, I could do anything. Emma hid in Ryan's arms, secretly smiling at me. I looked at the wound on her leg, picked up a piece of broken glass, and viciously cut myself. Then I stretched out my bloody hand and calmly said to Ryan, give it to me, the $30,000. Ryan looked at me, his eyes suddenly turning red. Seeing Ryan's expression, the smile on Emma's face froze for a moment. She took out a bank card and put it in my hand, saying softly, Lily, I'm giving you money today not because I owe you, but because I don't want to be like you, making such a scene for a little money. I couldn't be bothered to watch her act noble anymore. I took the money and was about to leave when Ryan grabbed me. He called my name, gritting his teeth as he cursed at me, Lily, doesn't it fucking hurt? Will you die without money? The way he frowned tightly, it seemed like he cared. I forcefully shook off his hand, turned back, and said with a cold smile, I've always been a woman who loves money, Ryan. Don't you know that? Mind your own business, and take care of your woman. Don't come bothering me again. Ryan stared at me, his eyes frighteningly cold, as if he wanted to devour me in one bite. My words probably reminded him of the past, when he gave up everything for me, and I cruelly abandoned him for money. My stomach was in severe pain, and I didn't want to talk to him anymore. I turned to leave, but suddenly felt light on my feet, leaving the ground. The next second, Ryan had me slung over his shoulder. Like a bandit kidnapping a woman, he carried me out of the private room with a cigarette in his mouth. Everyone turned to look. I struggled desperately, telling Ryan to put me down. He raised his hand and smacked my bottom, scolding me, Lily, I must have owed you in my past life for you to torment me like this in this one. He threw me into the car, leaned over to pin down my legs, and grabbed my face, cursing viciously, sometimes, I really want to kill you. His expression looked like he hated me to the core, but his eyes always seemed to be telling me that he still loved me. My stomach was hurting so badly that I couldn't speak, sweating coldly as I glared at him. Ryan frowned slightly, opened the car's glove compartment, took out a stomach pill, and shoved it into my mouth. I saw in the corner of the compartment my old lipstick that I had used up but couldn't bear to throw away, broken hair ties I had used, and the childish pink hairpin Ryan had bought for me long ago. That compartment held everything about me, accompanying Ryan for a long time in the days after I left. My tears suddenly fell. I turned my head, quickly wiping them away with my hand before Ryan could see. After all these years, he still remembered that I had a weak stomach. Even when I wasn't around, he was still in the habit of keeping pain relief medicine ready for me. But I hardened my heart and used all my strength to push him away forcefully. I forced myself to smile at him, saying, Ryan, stop pestering me, okay? The way you cling to me is really annoying. You probably don't know yet, but I've already been married and had a child. Do you still want to get back together with me? Ryan, don't be so pathetic. He stumbled back 2 steps from my push, frozen in place. As I was about to get up and leave, he suddenly reached out, pinned me to the car, gripped my neck, and said through gritted teeth with a trembling voice, Lily, I don't believe you. You'd better tell me you're fucking joking, or I'll definitely kill you. I looked straight into his eyes and calmly said, fine, I'll prove it to you. I took Ryan to the children's hospital. At 9 p.m., the lights in the inpatient department were still on. Standing outside the ward, I pointed through the glass at the child quietly reading a book inside and told Ryan, that's my child. The child's name was Tommy. He was my most beloved little darling. He looked a lot like me, but his personality was like Ryan's, very considerate, gentle, and a bit domineering, with a stubborn look in his eyes. He had inherited all of Ryan's good qualities. He was such a good child, but he was sick. Almost 6 years old, he was thin and small, yet so well behaved it broke one's heart. Ryan stared at the child for a very long time, then clenched his fist and slammed it hard against the wall. He lowered his head, seeming to drop a tear. I had never seen him look so devastated. The last thing Ryan said to me that night was, Lily, you've got guts. He didn't ask who the child's father was, nor did he recognize that the child was his own.